Good evening, guys, and welcome to tonight's hangout in the crib. As you can see, I've got the lovely TDO with me and El Jefe. We were hoping to have Tito, but I don't know if he's going to make it or not. So tonight, basically, what we're going to be talking about is the new Forsaken mission prizes, a little bit on some of the other stuff as well, with regards to the Skirmish line coming out in the Foundry. A few little hints and tips for sub refits that you might want to do as well. We might chuck that in there. Ready for the September raids after the preview today. So shall we start with the slides?
Yep.
Okay. When I figure out why my screen hasn't got a share thing on it, I shall do it. For some reason, it hasn't at the minute, which is odd. I can't do it. Why can't I do it?
Your screen share is not working?
No. You want to do it? Because my screen share is dead.
Are you using Chrome?
Yeah,
You are using Chrome?
yeah.
I'm on Torch right now. Chris, could you push that little green button and the little green arrow button to screen share?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Go back to the first slide.
Where's the zoom in button or the full screen button? Is there even one?
If you go to the present, view, present,
Alright.
is there a reason?
There
It's
we
not
go.
showing for him. It's not showing. There we go.
There we go. I've got it. Oh, you got it? There we go. Happy days. Oh, why that happened? That's a bit odd. Right. Do you want me to go for it, or do you want me? Do you want to start off? Okay.
Sure. I can't actually. Okay, yeah. If we can go to the next slide, Chris.
Yeah, that's it. We're sorted. Bug fixes. Do you want me to do it? I can see it probably better than you.
Sure. I can't. It's lagging on me as far as YouTube.
Yeah, that's cool. Bug fixes this week. They have fixed an issue where retrofitted citadels were not receiving the benefits they should have been granted to them by the Harlock Citadel flagship effect.
I noticed that in one base, it wasn't giving the projectile boost it should have.
Yeah, it only appeared to impact the retrofitted citadels, or like the retrofitted citadels. The ones that hadn't been retrofitted seemed to work fine. So I guess they hadn't clicked the box as far as they probably consider them different hulls. So I think when they fixed the issue with the Vendetta being able to take advantage of the that aura, they forgot to include the retrofitted citadels.
Yeah, that seemed like it's what they did because it worked fine and then it didn't. So I
Yeah,
don't have it, so I haven't noticed it myself. But I've watched base hits where it hasn't been given the boost that it says it does.
yeah, it's a bit odd, but it's fixed, so we're all good on that one. Do you want to go to the next slide, mate? Coming soon, so July's VXP weekend is this weekend, so it starts from 9 a.m. Pacific time, Friday, July the 22nd, to 9 a.m. on Pacific time on Monday, the 25th. Certain targets will spawn at increased payouts. Elite salvages, standard salvage fleets will pay out double of the normal XP. Earth fleets, wonder who they name those ones after. And level 3 and 61 assault forces will spawn on their normal schedule. And Level 80 Legion Assault Forces and level 1, 2, 3 Armadas will spawn from 9 a.m. to on Friday to 9 p.m. Saturday at alternate times, once at the top of the hour and the other at the half-hour mark. So pretty much the same as last month.
Yeah, everybody should just remember the because I assume a lot of people are going to try and rank up the Vanquisher, which don't move. I would just remember that there is a cap per hull per encounter on these targets. So try and figure out a tricky way to cut that encounter short before you completely die. Whether it's some sort of decoy ship or however you plan to do it, or if you're doing it with the Legion 80 assault forces, only trigger a certain number of ships at a time, then retreat and go back in, because you're capped per encounter per hull.
Yeah, or just repair, if you kill it completely off, just repair it like 1 coin.
I don't think we're going to kill it completely off with those 1, 2, 3s are nasty.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. No, I mean, kill your fleet off. Once you've killed your fleet off once, just put 1 coin on each of your ships in it. Send it back in again. You don't have to fully repair it, do you?
No. It's another way to do it.
Or
Sounds
might
good.
repair it. Yeah, so there's always options available to you. Just keep sending it in, get it ranked up, because they're nice when they're okay. Anybody else want to add anything to any tips or anything for the VXP weekends? Obviously, don't forget your ×3 salties if you've got them, or normal salties if you've got them. Chuck them on, it all doubles up. Or triples up with the silver ones. Okay, next slide, mate. Yeah, so, Launcher Tigers have had a little bit of a killing off, shall we say. Basically, last night, GD Rankin made this post saying that he wanted to give you a heads up about some upcoming submarine changes as part of the overall Skirmish submarine plan. Along with preserving efforts towards a more balanced and competitive PvP environment, we are going to be significantly reducing the effectiveness of surface-based weapons on submarines. This includes launchers, but will not affect scattergun performance. These changes are planned to be applied to the hulls themselves, with the weapons remaining unchanged. Remaining specifics of these changes are to be determined, and they will be releasing it with the next week's release. They've just given us a new launcher. A lot of people have put the new launcher on already Antipode Tigers, me included, because they couldn't be asked to put this out before the raid. This is just poor, really. I don't know what everybody else thinks about it. I think it's just, after all of the controversy and all of the uproar about the turret changes back a while back, stuff like this shouldn't be happening. They said, they learned from that, but they obviously haven't, because now people are pissed off again, aren't they?
To me, what they should do is they should make the Vanquisher have like 3,000 or 4,000 radioactive deflection to stop people from, using them to prep out guards. And all you need is one in your guard up front to stop launcher preps. It makes no sense to me to screw over everybody who has a fleet of these. They should just change the new ship so people who have that can use it to stop these sort of preps. Because I've watched people hit with them. And I've got a friend who was saying he was getting hit by somebody who's using it to kill a Hellstar in his base with the pinch and stuff. Because they deal like 94,000 damage a Slavo per sub.
Yeah. Well, there is that, which is obviously overpowered. And, I'm all for balancing it up. Don't get me wrong. But if you build a Vanquisher right, you know, you're going to need a couple of hits, maybe 3 hits, 4 hits to completely down one anyway. Because by the time you add in the accuracy of the weapon and then add in evade, because you can get the evade up to 60 odd percent on the Vanquisher anyway. You know, by the time all of those misses count in, to take out one Vanquisher, you're still looking at three hits.
Well, my friend said the dude who was hitting him was using a DOS, Discipline the Skullduggery, for the critical shots, and
Well,
single saliva would wipe out his Vanquisher.
yeah, but the DOS crew's a total different kettle of fish again, isn't it? So it's an I win button with launchers, isn't it? So, yeah, I just think that really they've just gone around this the wrong way. They could have communicated it better before they released the new launcher, so that they wouldn't have this problem of people being pissed off because they've refit them and now, less than 4 days after the raid, you know, they're useless again.
Yeah,
Basically.
like you said, it's poor communication. They need to put it out to the community before they decide, oh, we're going to do this. They should ask the community on the forums what they think should be done, and then the most popular
Well,
game correct decision should be what they do.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think the most.
I don't know
Good.
if they actually thought about it when they released it.
I mean,
Personally,
that's the problem I see is we were discussing this. You know, you're a big fan of the launcher, Tigers. We were discussing this before the raid even started. As soon as we saw the briefing, we're like, okay, this is how you're going to use this.
yeah.
And the fact that they didn't come up with that or communicate enough with actual players to figure out that this is an exploit and this is going to be something that's probably going to throw things out of balance
Well, I mean,
is questionable.
because realistically, any other guard ship you're going to take out in one salvo, aren't you? You know, the only thing that can survive more than one salvo of the set of subs from this is a Vanquisher. It don't matter what anybody says, that's the way it is. So, you know, I can see why they're doing it, and I kind of brought it up to sort of put it into their heads that that might be the case, that a lot of people might build them like that. And you know, if they'd have released it on the day of the raid, when they obviously started the raid off and said, look, we are going to change submarines, don't put them on submarines because we're going to nerf them, then I think everybody would have been fine. But no, this is just a classic case of kickside communication.
What they could have done is release Shockwave Plating 3 and 4, but added plane radioactive deflection to it to stop this new launcher prep.
This is true. They could have
You
done
know,
that.
that's because they haven't even released 3 and 4, so technically they really wouldn't be changing already own blueprints. You know, update it and then give it to us in a campaign or Forsaken Mission or something, you know?
This is good. Yeah, that's a good idea. That. Anyway, I think we should move on from this. Because
Next slide.
ranting about it too much. Okay, so new Forsaken Mission prizes. As you may have already noticed, most of them went into Tier 5. There's one in Tier 3, one in Tier 4. So you're going to have lots of tokens this month from Tier 4. But your Tier 5, you're going to have to do 2 weeks to get the limited turret, doing doubles. If you want to get the tokens from Tier 5 as well, obviously. So the new weapon that come out is the concussive reciprocator. We were talking about this a little while back. We were wondering how it was going to work, whether it was going to be a special or whether it was going to be a weapon. So it turns out it is a weapon. It does concussive damage, weighs 260 tons, splash of 10, spread of 15, range of 86. But it does the full damage 1350 across the 86, and a building damage 2700 with a salvo of 5 and reload time of 7. So we've well, do you want to talk through this, Jeff? Because
Sure,
you've done the
sure,
numbers on it.
sure. Um, I mean, if you look at it, the DPS per ton exceeds everything else, both against buildings and and fleets. And it's got a mid-range. It's mid-range. It's a mid-range weapon. It's a nice combination of the two. Chris, can you the complicated part about evaluating this weapon is the windup. Chris, can you push the enter button? Can you click 2 times?
On the go right slide.
Yeah, or just hit the enter button twice. There's 2 more images that are going to come up, and the 2 images
All
that are
right.
going to come up on the bottom left is going to be primary windup for the primary windup for the CGG, and then the secondary. And it's going to take actually using this weapon to see how they compare head to head, because you look at the bonus reloads are quite a bit different. It's lower. It's lower for this weapon, but if you look at the decay time, it's way higher. So you don't need to be continually firing to get this bonus reload involved, which is really going to impact what's going on here in this table dealing with the DPS and DPS per ton. It looks like a much more manageable weapon to use, an easier weapon to use, because with the primary on the concussive Gatling gun, you need to be firing consistently, or else that reload's going away. But with that 12 seconds, you got some time, and you're going to continue to get that 234% bonus reload. It's one of those ones I want to see in action, but it seems like it's definitely got some possibilities, especially
Well,
with fleet to fleet and some other things.
yeah, I mean,
Fleet to fleet is where I'm seeing it used at the most.
You've seen
yeah,
it already?
Well, no, I haven't seen it, but that's where I'm seeing it be used the most because with the
Okay.
damage and the Salavo mixture, unlike the regular Gatling gun, they'll actually be able to damage vendettas and stuff like that. So that's where I'm seeing it being used as like in a base guard or something.
yeah, you could do that. Um, one thing that I was looking at on this, because obviously with the addition of the ATR transformer, scatterguns and basilisks now, you can't outrage them with the concussive Gatling gun. Whereas you used to be able to, like, just turn into them and just have them right on the edge of your range and just outrun them, outranging. Now you just gonna have to run past them. So this is kind of better because it does more DPS over anything else in it. So a lot of people have started putting that on so that you are taking at least some damage from those turrets, and you're not going to be able to sit there and just snipe away at them. So if you are using Gatling guns on your revenges to rush in through bases and stuff, it's probably a good option anyway.
Yeah, and with the reduced weight, I'm curious why they reduced the weight so much, unless there's going to be another ship coming out.
Yeah,
Because did anybody have an issue filling up a revenge with these?
no, it does kind of. It depends on what else you put on there.
Yeah, because it's about 60% of the weight.
Yeah, because you can, if you look at putting, for example, like a Gale 3 on there and sticking a launcher on there as a spotting weapon as well, then you can run into difficulty if you use the Hunter Special
Okay.
on it. You're limited to what armor you can put on it then. But, other than that, I can't really see why they've done it unless they're obviously trying to put it in for some fleet to fleet ships and stuff.
Yeah, there's a comment that it doesn't mention submerged damage. This one does. It's the tower or the turret that's coming later where they don't mention the submerged damage, and yeah, we'll question that. I'm just addressing a comment in chat.
Let's say they're right underneath the reload times of 7, submerged damage of 1350.
Yeah, I think he's referring to the minigun, the
Yeah,
tower, the turret that's coming up.
yeah. We'll move on to that in a minute. So next slide, shall we?
Are you going to put it on? Or are you going to replace anything on your revenge, or leave it as is?
Probably going to leave it as is, I think, for a minute.
Yeah, it's the wind up. It makes it really hard to quantify.
I know that my Vanquisher with full rad loadout and full evade loadout on a rev, it'll kill it in 2 salvos. So it's kind of killed them really, unless it's based with obviously no Vanquish, isn't it? So the next one is the Cloaking Armor. So we haven't seen Cloaking Armors available for a long time. I think the D2S has only been available twice, if I remember rightly, since the game began. So it's good to see them offering Cloaking Armor. Obviously, all of these have the same build time of 5 hours and 24 minutes right across the board. You've got the standardised D2 to D5 arm points added addition of 750, 1250, 1750, and 225. No. The weights, yeah, same as usual. Armor points a turn, pretty much very similar. D5 does gain a little bit. And the repair time's quite linear as well on them. The thing that you will notice on this, and I've seen a lot of people commenting on it on the forum about why have they added explosive defense to the new S armors. Do you want to pick that up, or do you want me to explain why? Or
Well, I think it's basically associated with the upcoming skirmish targets are doing they're doing explosive damage.
it's to
It's
do with the new raids that are coming up in September. When you kill the Reapers, they have a death weapon which deals explosive damage. So you are going to need explosive defense. Ablative 3 is probably highly recommended, and obviously some of this as well. So just bear that in mind, but we will go through that a little bit.
which I think it's going to be a big trade-off personally, because starting a slide later on, Doom Rooster mentions the fact that next week there will be a live release that requires no damage subs can be launched.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
repair time is going to become a large issue, and I'm wondering if that's why they made the build time equal.
Well, the repair time, they're
changing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're changing the modifier on all subs except for the Ghost Crawler to 100%, so the repair times will be quicker.
Well, that's not quite how it's going to work, I don't think. What they're going to do is change the base repair time is going to stay the same, I do believe, but any army that you add to it is going to have a repair duration of 100%. So whereas previously anything that you added to it would be 400% on the repair time for your armors.
Well, it's not going to really affect me because the only things I have are my Nighthawks and my Ghost Crawler, and they're excluding the Ghost Crawler from it, so...
Yeah, so should we move on to the next slide?
Yep.
So the new turret special, Neurotion Pyro. Alright, new turret special, expanded concussive charge. Focus on improvements, depth charges. Forsaken engineers have come up with technology to boost the concussive damage and splash range of turrets. So adds 30% power consumed to the new weapon, adds 60% splash and 60% concussive damage, which is massive. As you've put down here, slight misspelling of eruption, but we'll go with it. Eruption power of 20% splash, and Zinfium shells add 30% splash. Both of which add 30% to your projectile speed, which is probably one of the two might be a good option for you to add alongside this on a level 7 turret, just because it will increase your splash and it will increase your projectile speed, which means you've got more chance of doing more damage. Eruption Pyre, I believe, is 16% weapon power consumed, and Zinfium shells is 30% also. But obviously, these Zinfium shells give you that extra 10% splash.
Yeah, I went with that spelling to deal with the UK leaving the EU.
Yeah, Euro option, kind of.
Yes.
I quite like it. What do you guys think about this? And obviously, we're going to talk about the weapon in a minute, but this is quite a massive amount of splash and a massive amount of extra damage, isn't it?
Yeah, and how do you feel about it being used on other weapons besides what it's intended for? Because you have things like the Apocalypse and the Glacial
Oh
that
yeah,
had 30 splash to begin with, and now they're going to go to 48.
yeah. So, yeah, the extra 60% splash is going to be nice on mortar turrets. Obviously, having the eruption pyre and Zinfium shell works nicely together because you have the dual projectile speed bonuses on it. So I think that kind of you're increasing the splash quite a lot on the APOC mortar if you do add this in, but you are losing that projectile's speed, so you might see that they'll probably balance each other out, I would have thought. I don't know what you think. I think that's probably likely. They'll probably balance each other out.
Well, it depends on do you have a good choke point where people with vendettas have to stop. Otherwise, I don't see much use in it unless you're slowing vendettas down because they're quick, and if you can't stop them, they'll just fly right past the mortars. The mortars will hit the water and not do any damage.
Oh, for sure. That's why I've also added in on my Vanquisher. I put cryo battery on it as well, just to add some
Yeah,
life.
I've got that on mine. However, the best use for this special is on the new turret, which, as you can see here, it is a good damage dealer.
Yeah. So obviously this is the Tier 5 limited turret. It's not going to be available until next week, as long as you do 2 times this week, 2 times next week. Yeah, this is insane amount of damage. So it's quite a lot of power consumed for 150. It's concussive type weapon, which means that it's going to hurt vendettas and definitely hurt revenges. Splash 10, spread 15, range of 150, so just a bit longer than the glacial turret. Damage 2528, salvo of 2, reload time of 4, and concussive defense bypass of 50%. What's interesting is that it has got a wind-up bonus on it, and the bonus reload goes up to 2,500%. With a reload decay time of 15 seconds. But you do have to have 100 hit stacks in order for it to actually make it up to that 2,500% bonus. So with like you've put here, the DPS range starts off at 575 up to 4,564, depending on what you put on it. We don't know whether or not it hits submerged targets because it doesn't say in the blueprint. But generally, if it doesn't say on there, we would have thought that it probably doesn't. So is it stack or salvo reload? Because if it's hits, it's different to getting off salvos, isn't it? So it'd be interesting to find out which one's which. Anything
it'll happen twice as fast.
Exactly, yeah. So.
Because it'll take about 95 seconds to get all the way up to the max.
Yeah.
With if it's a reload and about 45 seconds for salvo. So it does take a while to reach that 100 stacks.
Yeah, it will do. Should we move on? I think you've made numbers for this, haven't you? Made numbers.
Okay, let's go.
Oh no, we've got the Skirmish Foundry components. So, in preparation for the addition of the Skirmish line to the Foundry next week, the requisite components for the Skirmish line are below. Fragments for the Skirmish line will be available from select targets starting next week. So in Tier 1 you've got the Barracuda and Cat Drive 1 and Stealth Attack 1. Tier 2 Spectre, Cat Drive 2 and Stealth Attack 2. Nighthawk with Magnus Drive in Tier 3 and Stealth Attack 3. And Tiger Shark with Magnus Drive 2 and Stealth Attack 4 in Tier 4. So it's also put a note on the Skirmish line. Next week the Skirmish line will be introduced to the Foundry. This will include changes to submarines that will work to increase the usefulness of subs in combat whilst reducing the opportunity to exploit the mechanics of subs. More information to come next week, but basically that means that they've got to be 100% healthy before you can launch them. And we're assuming that the Spectre is going to get a third special slot. Is that correct?
I haven't heard about that, but it would be nice if it did, because 2 special slots isn't enough for subs these days.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I put that in there is if you look at your Spectre in your shipyard, the graphic now shows 3 specials.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
So you are going to get a third special.
You can't use it, but it shows the artwork for 3 specials.
Cool. Just going back to the turret, did you make any numbers on it or not? Because I think we were working it out, weren't we, between us, and then we worked out that if you put the AT transformer on it on a level 7 platform and 3 and 5 support 2s, it was pretty nasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't end up. I mean, I ended up running out of time on some of that. So no, I haven't done too much more with that one. We can go back and talk about it as far as what you think about it. But no, I didn't have time to put slides together for that one.
All right, cool. Do you want to just pop back a minute? Just pop back one, Chris.
Go back one?
Yeah, we'll just go back to the. I'm going to go into it. I couldn't remember if we made the numbers or not. So, so with this, you're going to want to put it somewhere in your base where it's going to hit for most of the channel. Obviously, with 150 range, that's pretty good. It's similar to an executioner in range. So you've got fairly good range to work with. It's a little bit higher than the glacial, so if you've got somewhere where you can get a good range on the glacial right around your channel and stuff like that, it's probably good to put it somewhere close to that, I would have thought. And of course, by adding in your 5 support platforms, you're going to increase the damage by a lot, and it's going to hurt more. But I think with this and the new Cyclone launcher on Vanquishers, I think your days of hitting high-end bases with revs are pretty limited. Would you agree?
And yeah, and it's going to encourage the way that people are already hitting bases with the new hulls to basically send one in at a time because allow the reload decay to kick in.
Yeah, for sure. And of course you're gonna want to do that, and you're not gonna want to bunch stuff up because it is splash damage, so it will damage all of the ships if you bunch them up. So um,
Yeah,
definitely,
this is one of the first times I think the splash is going to be, once you put that special on, the splash is going to be larger than the spread.
yeah.
You're going to have a 16 splash and a 15 spread,
Mm.
which is going to be, that means pretty much, I don't know the decay on this one as far as what the minimum splash is, but once you implement that special, you're going to be getting the full damage. You're not
Yeah,
going to be getting fall off there and spreading it out because a lot of them are, splash of 10, spread of 100, like a basilisk or something like that, where you're really spreading out that damage. But
yeah,
this is going to concentrate it quite a bit.
yeah, because it's gonna have equivalent accuracy of about 100%, isn't it? So
Oh yeah, well max is at 100, but yeah, it definitely has
yeah, it's gonna
definitely be 100%.
be right up there. So every hit's probably gonna hit, unless of course the projectile speed's really slow. So that's why I was maybe one of the other specials that might add projectile speed and splash as being a good option.
Yeah, like eruption prior and
Cloaking shells.
the new special. Yeah, or the new special.
And the new special, yeah, that you could probably stack both anyway. You'd probably be able to stack Synchron shells with the 30% and 60% from the new special, and then have the 30% projectile speed on top as well, with the eruption pipe, which is going to be nasty. Right, are we about finished with the concussive minigun turret? Yeah. So if we want to go forward two now, Chris. Okay. So we playing this have faith you've done all the work for it, mate. Much appreciated.
No problem. I'm sorry. I put a little note that I was going to be gone for 10 seconds. Did you ask me anything?
Oh yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, I was just wondering if you could explain your little chart there for the
Oh,
upcoming.
okay. Sure. I did. I looked at the Dark Alliance site where they do data mining of the files that Kixeye puts out, and from what I can tell, the maximum sonar range of any of the new targets, both the upcoming raid targets, what was in the preview today, some of them are future skirmish targets, which are probably going to replace the armadas at some point soon, has a maximum sonar range of 150. And what I try to do is go through and figure out how to equip different halls with different specials and figure out what how close you could get to them before they were gonna mess you up. And if you look at them, if you have Scourge Terps, um, you're doing pretty good with almost all these builds. Um, you know, the Tiger Shark. Oh, and the other thing that I should mention is that I put Tiger Shark in the table, but when I said Tiger Shark, it also could be a Banshee or a Nighthawk. When equipped the same way, they're going to react the same way. Um,
Yeah, because they both have the same basic visible range, don't they?
yeah, they're all 60. So if you look through it, you can get all the way down to at R15 with Tiger Sharks with Magnus 2 and maxed out with any of the DXS armors. You're going to get down to a 30. You have to get it within 32 for them to start firing at you or seeing you. And you can still do decent with a CUDA. You can get it down to 65. So you got a fair amount of play um, with the drones, because I don't know if anybody's seen any too much of the preview target that came out today. They launched a lot of drones. They come out and swarm, but if they don't see anything, they circle again. I mean, as sort of a side note, did anybody see any of the preview today?
I watched a video of it, but I didn't see anything that wasn't on it.
No, there are a couple of videos out there, and I will post a couple up to the BPC page either tonight or tomorrow. Make sure.
Yeah. So I was basically trying to help people figure out if the data mining, if the information stays the same and we continue to get a sonar range of 150, this is how you're going to need to equip your ships based on your torpedoes to figure out how to outrange these ships. And the formula's out there. That's all I did, is I plugged in the formula and just assume that the data was correct, or it's not going to change between now and when we actually see these targets in a live server. But that's about it. Anybody? That's all I really wanted to show everybody.
No, I mean, it's obviously you've got to remember as well that there is on-off switches on subcavitator fields on them as well. So it's not just a case of building it and chucking it in there. You're still going to have to use a fair bit of skill in order to dodge all of the cav fields and stuff like that. Like I said, I'll post a couple of videos of stuff, because there is a few out there, and give you a bit of an idea of what you might be looking at if you didn't manage to get into the preview. But yeah, I mean, really something that you're probably going to want to look at is high speed, high turning, and high rank and high damage. Definitely want those Scourge Talks on there, and I do believe that the Scourge Talks are going to be a lot quicker to refit, judging by the preview server.
Now, talking about the Scourge Torps, I believe Doomster teased that the Charon and the Sykes will get a build time reduction next week when the sub updates go live.
Yeah. So,
I don't know what they'll be reduced to, but that's what I've been hearing.
I think if I've seen something earlier from someone that was on the preview, and they were saying that to refit their Nighthawks was a couple of days, 3 days or something stupid like that. I'll just have a quick look for that if you want to carry on for a minute.
I mean, the thing that I thought about was the fact that it's actually pretty reasonable. For a while there, anything dealing with subs was completely unreasonable. And if properly outfitted, you can get a reasonable margin of safety between your torpedo range and the detection range on these ships. And so at least at this point they're being reasonable. It's not like the 1,000 thermal or anything crazy like that. And so, I thought this was a reasonable compromise with the sonar range of 150. I mean, your Predators aren't really probably going to do too much with the lack of too many specials, but
the thing is we're getting subs in the Foundry, and people can get Barracudas from that, and Barracudas themselves are a short build time, depending on your build. That is.
So just to mention here, Rob's actually posted on the Alliance Crib that to change his build for his Nighthawk from 5 V-Torps up to the Sharon torpedoes, add the new armors, and stick on a Magnus drive was about 4 days per sub to change it over.
That was on preview?
Yeah, just to give you a kind of sort of
Well,
a line of
Look forward.
how it's going to take you, roughly.
And the other thing that I noticed is at least going to your retro lab and upgrading your DS armors from 0 to 10 provides you a good safety buffer. I mean,
Yeah,
R10 to R15, not so much, but R0 to R10, which is the cheapest way to go.
yeah, it's definitely the way to do it. There we go. There you go, hard moving. Right. Yeah. So like Heather was saying, it's not too expensive a retrofit. You can be done in 10 days. Obviously, quicker with your tokens from the Forsaken mission. So yeah, definitely looking to getting that done before the new raids come about in September. And you've got plenty of time to do it. It just adds you that extra bit of safety. All right. Anything else that you want to say on this? Anything you want to add?
what?
No, I'm good.
No, all good. Should we move on to the next slide then?
Yeah, but just saying, don't hold us to the 150, but that's what's the available
That's what,
information is at this point.
yeah,
That's
current.
what you should plan on. Is what we're telling people. Is that's about where it's going to be.
Okay, so kick my score up. Waiting until after the release of the Cyclone launcher to change the effectiveness of performance on submarines. Well, we've already talked about that one. It's stupid. This year's for the raid. Limiting friends and relocate list to 25 players is dumb.
Yeah, because I've got people that owe me coin from the raid, and most of my friends have a lot more than 25 players on there. So there's no point in even wasting time on, oh, let's limit the friends list. Why?
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's for people like me that have got like 600 people and friends stuff.
Well, that's their issue. Don't have that many people on and then complain you can't find the person you're looking for, because then they're going to limit to 25, and there's a very small chance that the people you want are going to be in that 25 list.
Agreed, yeah. Also, something that I know has got Hafe's goat a bit is the Harlock Citadel flagship aura. On the blueprint it says plus 200% explosive damage bonus. Well, as we know, kicks I like to put that on there, but that 200% includes the that's already there. So they make it look better, but you're actually only getting an extra 100%. Which really pisses you off, doesn't it, Heather?
Well, especially after I spent the time to get the projectile speed that was originally supposed to be plus 200, and it was actually 100. And now they changed that blueprint to reflect that. And now the explosive damage bonus, which was supposed to be 200, even though it still shows 200 in the blueprint, is actually 100.
Yeah.
So we've been sold something we didn't, maybe we didn't want to buy, maybe we did, but it's not what we thought we were buying.
Again, yeah, this is something that they really need to get a hold of, really, because it is misleading. If it's a bonus and how much the bonus is, don't include the original figure in the bonus.
To me, it wouldn't be such an issue of them changing the stats if they refunded players some of their money, but their response is, nope, you paid for the time, not the product, which is complete bullshit.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one because I'm pissed off because I've just spent a load of time and tokens on refitting launchers onto my bloody Tiger Shark, so I can definitely be with that sentiment there. Anything else that we can see that's a score up this week?
Mm,
No, nothing at
not that
all.
I can really think of.
No. Shall we move on to breakthrough of the week then?
Sure.
So,
Yeah. It's just, I just find it odd that they didn't. I just find it odd and sort of deceptive that they changed the projectile speed on the blueprint and didn't really make a point of it. People saw it, but
no.
didn't change the explosive damage.
Yeah, that kind of is a bit odd. Yeah. Um, so this week's kickside breakthrough. No more shards in tier 5, which is great.
Yeah,
Getting fed up with getting even more Proton M shards that are completely useless to me.
you sure you don't want like what, a seventh or eighth proto nemesis by now?
No. Uh,
I
across
mean, I've
both.
seen you out there hitting bases with one as a flagship. You could do that with all your fleets.
Sure, I put it on as a flagship so that I don't get sniped. It's fine. And then I still get sniped, and then I sink them, and then I go, "Oh, that was dumb." It does amuse me because I get hate mail for it. But yeah, so as you can see, the shards are gone, which is you know sharpened up the route through for the new tech, which is cool. Like it a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
I like the new tech, all except for the concussive gun. It's good, but it doesn't interest me. Everything else is pretty good because I'm going to be putting the new armor on my second ghost, and then I'll use the other two prizes also.
yeah, true. So it's pretty cool. I like it. Um, anything else that's a breakthrough this week? No. I'll tell you what I do like, which you know I think that in the foundry, when you're looking for like level 60 mines for your base parts, because you can instant repair them quite easily. In the foundry, it actually works when you go into the tab for the siege targets, for the Crusader, and actually say find the target. It actually finds them for you. It's good.
Oh,
Unlike,
even if after you've completed it?
yeah,
Oh, cool. Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
so that's cool. You can just keep doing that. That's great. It's great fun. And it does it not only in your sector as well now. For some reason, it just takes you to the nearest one. It's taking me to nearby sectors and everything. So earlier on when I was pillaging, so that's cool.
What's up? Yeah, that's very cool. And well, and also, what did everybody think about this the raid last week?
Yeah, it was alright. I think that the addition of more of those scent missiles was a little bit sneaky. There's some people that would sort of like have the bare minimum phalanxes on there to shoot stuff down. But it's great that we can still use the bullseye brigade crew and the DOS crew in order to shoot down all the missiles. It's reducing your damage quite considerably because you could go around and just pick off all the missile turrets and just leave the scattergun turrets and then go in with a revenge afterwards and just pick them off by outranging them, which was cool in the 103s, which pretty good bonuses.
Yeah,
So,
the raid was pretty easy. Two disciplines of Sculdere crews and two grease monkeys, and I had 50 mil in 3 hours for like 45 coins. So it was a pretty good raid. The
yeah,
thing I liked most about it was if you came in from the back part, you could take the mega hole out and all the roaming ships without touching the turns, and then use scattergun tigers to kill the turns if you had the seat time to do it.
yeah, that was a good idea as well. Yeah, you could do that, which was pretty cool. Um, yeah, so it's not too bad. Um, prep
Well,
wise,
also, I wasn't sure if I got worse at playing the game or they changed it. But after I cleared out I took out the mega hall, or the ships in the mega hall. and then I took out the Sentinels, I was able to snipe out the scatter guns with a Revenge with concussive Gatling guns. But I had a harder time doing it later in the raid. I'm not sure if they made a change. Was anybody else trying that?
No, yeah, it was still the same. You were probably just tired, I expect.
Yeah, probably.
One of the tips for that is to get close up and then start a turn rather than trying to edge forward. Start a turn, you tend to outrange him by more rather than trying to step up straight towards it. It's just a little bit of a tip for people who haven't worked it out. Works in bases as well. Get close, start a turn so that you're turning into it rather than going straight at it.
Okay. Makes
Anything
sense.
else we want to bring up? It's just a more controlled way of doing it. If you're stepping forward, you've got that front line speed, straight line speed, whereas your turn speed's slower, so it's more controlled, so you can outrange stuff.
Yeah, to creep up on them.
Sorry, mate?
You're saying come at the turns at an angle so you can creep up on them better instead of just going straight at it.
Yeah, if you go straight at it, because your straight line speed is quicker than your turn speed, obviously it's harder to judge and stop it dead on so that you outrange the target because there's such a minimal gap. So you come up to it whatever angle you want to, and then just turn so that you're coming in but turning at the same time, and you can outrange them easier.
Yeah, that's what I do. Although I don't have a scattergun revenge, I use a scattergun Orbis Core Saber. Or not a scattergun, a concussive Gatling gun.
Cool. So I think that's us for tonight. I'll try and post those videos either tonight or tomorrow. It's getting quite late here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, so it more than likely will be in the morning. Just want to thank everybody who's in the chat. Thank you for coming. It's good that you follow us all the time, and I hope that it's been a nice and educational program for you today. Obviously, we haven't got Larry with us today to plug his blog, so check out the BP Prof's blog, bpprof.blogspot.com. Check out the BPC page for any things you can add in there and some videos and stuff like that. We'll probably do a tips and tricks section as well about the upcoming raid targets for September, and any tips and tricks that we find for ranking stuff up quicker in the VXP weekend. Anybody else want to add anything before we go?
No, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Cool. So we shall see you all next Wednesday, same time, same place. Well, different link, but same place. Yes. And we'll catch you all later. Cheers, guys.